Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It's taking a look here at Solana, see what's going on. Bearish rectangle played out pretty well. Keep in mind, it's not because of specific pattern. That's just a contributing factor to the fact that the price action was range bound and down, and Bitcoin, of course, pulled back to that low 90K range. So again, not great for Bitcoin, not great for the altcoin market. Everything is pretty much bright red today, so not the most ideal. But the question is, are we in? Is the bottom in? Well, the truth is we came lower than the local low here at about 175. We don't hold 175, it's going to be a problem. Okay, so we'll talk about that. But again, generally speaking, you see this aggressive, ugly candle wick here down. That is a liquidation sweep. So majority liquidation has been swept here for Solana. Same thing with Bitcoin, majority of altcoins too. I mean, pretty much the same scenario, nothing too different. So what we're going to talk about today is dollar cost average targets. We're going to look at some macro support ranges to kind of see where we may actually see some liquidation, or more importantly, where we might actually see some reprieve, because we do have a lot of liquidation between 180 and 185. It's important to recognize that. This is small term, short term liquidation. These are recent shorts that took shorts here as soon as the price hit 180. So let's not be too ahead of ourselves and think we're just going to see 185. But on the same accord, we need to recognize that all lower liquidation levels have been swept. When we do take a look at liquidation delta, it's almost back to break even after sweeping all that that long liquidation here to the downside. Just jump into open interest and just kind of recognize here as well that we are in a position where 185 to 190 is that local area of resistance, mainly because too many people bought the bottom there and they're going to be trying to exit their positions when the price action comes back there. That'll be the exit liquidity, which is again reflected here with liquidation between 180 and 185. So it seems sensible that 180 to 185 would be the next potential area of consideration, but Bitcoin absolutely has to hold 91 to 92K first. Otherwise, it's going to be a complete disaster. The whole altcoin market is just completely terrible right now. So don't recommend taking any long positions at this moment. There's very few outliers that are looking pretty good. Like for example, we took a long with Cardano on Saturday at about 94 cents, hit our target about 103 and pulled back. All good stuff there. So to give you perspective, we took that trade, 94 cents, hit 98 and 102 rather, and then we took about 30% profit there. We can also see a lot of liquidation here too. Look at this here. Unusual buying activity from Bitcoin. $2.2 billion bought at 91,400. So we have a potential support at 91.4. And then furthermore too, Bitcoin, we took 60% profit on our short position from 95.4 to roughly 89,000. So again, I'm just kind of throwing that all out there so you understand that there's still opportunities in the market, but long positions are very risky. And when we took this trade, there was a lot of confirming factors. But I can tell you right now, the old reset button has been hit. There's no reason to take a long position with that coin or any other coin for the moment. And that includes Solana too, honestly, just from the bird's eye view. You never buy these kind of dips unless it's a spot bag. Okay, if you're using leverage of any sort, it's a bad idea. Okay, so please get that into your head. And again, there's nothing wrong with you perhaps doing that if your risk tolerance, works well with it, right? But on the same accord, if your risk tolerance allows for high risk trades, you probably need to reevaluate because you're probably not very successful, right? Again, there's just different strategies for different folks. But let's take a look at the daily time frame, work our way down. Before we get started, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. I'd love to hear your thoughts and deeply appreciate your feedback. And of course, more importantly, the support from my Solana community. Got some pretty awesome traders in our group here from that. So the resistance range, we're going to talk about that here soon. We'll just expand that out. I'll update our playout charts here soon as well with our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Just keep in mind for now, we have to sustain 175 or higher today to have any chance to be able to recover. Okay, so it's not looking great for Solana. Again, it's not looking great for a lot of other coins too. But let's go ahead and discuss the daily time frame, and then we'll go ahead and talk about support and resistance levels shortly. Take a look here. We can see, first of all, everything's bearish. There's nothing here that tells us you want to take a long or even buy this dip. When it comes to a spot bag, it's a different story. Generally speaking, you want to add to whatever dips you can, just based on the simple fact that you're dollar cost averaging on the way down, and this may be the tentative bottom. All right, I want to emphasize the word tentative because we don't know just yet. It's not looking great for Bitcoin, and Solana still has a lot of meat left on the bone, so please recognize that. Let's go ahead and look at the macro here too, and kind of just see where some previous support levels are. First of all, we had a support and resistance at 185. That's now gone. We can kind of consider that to be a potential resistance just based on that being an area that was a point of contention before. Secondary to that, this level here at about 170 We had a small amount of support there back in November, but I would say bigger picture from a lot of confluence here, between 160 and 170 makes sense because there is a lot of highs here that we could see that are potentially going to work as new lows, right? So again, that's roughly what we're looking at there, but there's not a lot of concrete areas here that you want to consider buying into, right? Because there's a pretty significant gap here. In other words, there's not a ton of volume in the range that we're in right now. We see a lot of volume support at 145 to 150. So obviously that would be the perfect dip to buy. But between now and then, I think, yeah, 160 and 145 is some round numbers are the two heavy areas to potentially consider getting into. But let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame and work our way down, kind of see what's going on. Once again, I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, an updated one, of course, to reflect today's analysis, but we can see that bearish rectangle working pretty well. Unfortunately, we missed our short at 192. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but that was a perfect place to short, considering that was a local resistance. Let's take a look here, though, at the 4-hour time frame. We want to recognize that we're below all moving averages. Okay, so we're underneath the 20-day SMA as well here. And if we're going to draw out a trend line, we need to make sure to, at the very least, if we're going to consider a long position, we have to consider a long when we've broken this trend line. Or, more importantly, get above the 20-day SMA. So we're starting to see a lot of confluence here. If you see here, 185, tested multiple times before it broke. The 20-day SMA is hanging out there. The descending trend line is right there with it. So my speculation here is that if the price action was to recover, we should see rejection or resistance at 185. Okay? So please understand, 185 will probably be a difficult place in which we can, we're going to try to break through because there's a lot of support there from before, which is now a resistance. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so taking a look here at some important factors as well. A lot of times you can find benefit by buying these kind of dips. I'm not proposing you do so. And if you do, I'm referring more so to spot bags or super low leverage. But generally speaking, when you hit 30 on the RSI, 20 on the money flow index on the 4-hour time frame, that's a common pivot point for the price to respond well. We can already see that kind of happens, so that ship is probably sailed, but just know, future reference, that's what's to look for. But if you look at everything else, there is zero reasons to take a long position, right? So if you're just like a crazy maniac that just loves to take long positions with high risk, that would have been a good consideration. But that ship has sailed. So just keep in mind those are little things I like to look for depending on the type of trading I'm doing. But for the most part, I don't recommend a long position at this point. Hourly time frame is going to refer to the same things here. So really not a whole heck of a lot going on here as far as long potential viability. When it comes to taking a short, I don't like to short what feels like the bottom. So truth is there's probably a lot more meat left on the bone to the downside. So if you're going to do anything, you are going to find much more success shorting the market. But again, we're kind of bottoming out here for the moment. If Bitcoin can hold the 91 to 92K range, then I do think we're going to see somewhat of a recovery to 185. But that's more so consolation, folks. There's nothing really here minus local liquidation at 180 to 185 that really incentivizes the price to go up at all. Okay. So again, that's not a reason to take a long position. But just know, if you're going to consider securing profits, just below 185 would be a good place. Or if the price does rally back to that 184, 185 range, that's an excellent consideration for a short position. That's what I'm going to be looking for. Because again, all liquidation would have been swept. This macro resistance of 185, both local and long-term, is essentially a new resistance level for us. So my anticipation is we're going to see something along these lines here. Okay. And that would actually speak pretty well to Bitcoin as well, just to keep you up to date in case you missed that analysis. There's a local point of control for Bitcoin as well here at about this 94,300 mark. So I'm absolutely eyeballing this as a good potential short entry for us. Okay. So again, those things may not come to pass, right? The price may be on its way down and it won't look back. But if so, we at least know where to get in considering the overall conditions here. So I'm looking for a short at 184, just shy of that previous support level. All right, hope that works well for you. Let me know if you would like to comment below. If you want to become a better trader, again, cryptocash.tech is the site link down below. I'll go ahead and draw out some macro fib levels here for us. Post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Looks a little something like this if you're not familiar. And I hope that you learned something today. Hope you have a good rest of your day too. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks again for your time. Take care.